this weird formula that was calculating velocity, and they gave that formula to us. We don't need to come up with that on our own. We need to piece together some things here so that we can find the time. We're solving for t. They tell us that the keys are dropped from a height of 10 feet, and the friend catches the keys at a height of 4 feet. There's our 10 feet. They already plugged in for us. We need to plug in 4 somewhere. Where would I place the 4 in the equation? Turn and talk to your partner. Go. Where would I plug that 4 into? Mariah, where would I plug that 4 into? It's for HY. You just did it because maybe it was the last one. What does the H stand for? It's the height, and they tell us the height's 4 feet. Do you guys remember doing the ground problems where like every time the height was 0 because it just like hit the ground? The one case where it wouldn't be 0, Elliot, is if they tell you someone caught it. And this catch happens at 4 feet, so there's your 4. Let's solve this thing to find t. Tony.
Wouldn't there be a t next to the 10 because it's vt?
It usually is, but sometimes the formula switches up, and I'm not going to go into detail as to why that is. That's more like physics. I'm not going to enter that. But they just tell you the formula, and you won't ever have to piece together this velocity formula. They will always give it to you in the problem. They'll like tell you what to start with usually. Okay, let's solve using the square root method. Wyatt, what's my first step? Minus. Let's try that. What would you move to make that happen? I would probably go that route too. You might be tempted to move the 16 to get it positive. It's not wrong. That's just probably an extra step that's not necessary. Negative 16t squared. Next step, Kylie. You weren't here yesterday, so let me know if you need help and we'll help you out. Okay, so our goal for taking a square root, we always want to try to get the t squared alone. Kind of like solving an equation. So if there's a negative 16 next to the t squared, that means multiplication. Remember, like equations. How would I move that to the other side? Yeah, you got it. That's going to cross that out. You get t squared by itself, and we're left with negative 6 over negative 16, which I can simplify, divide top and bottom by 2, and you get 3/8. Take the square root of 3/8, and remember I said sometimes you're not going to have a perfect square. Sometimes it'll just look kind of weird, and 3/8 square root is the simplest you can make it. It doesn't look very fun. It's not like a very, oh, I made a blunder. Yeah, Jordan?
I'm confused when you do the square root by the plus minus, because it shows that it's either positive or negative. But if a square root of something equals something else, that's just what it equals. There's no need in putting the plus minus because that's just what it equals, which can be both.
You're probably right. Yeah, so I should put the plus or minus here. That's fine.
No, you don't need the plus or minus. You just need the square root because it's what the square root equals.
Yeah, you're right. So you could just do that. Yeah, you're not wrong. I just do that out of habit when I take the square roots, just so I don't forget that if I actually am gonna simplify it. But for this case, we aren't actually going to need to simplify. Yeah.
How come when we first started finding velocity, it was all simple, and we didn't actually need the square root stuff? We just said t equals like 5. How come now?
Because I gave you a simple start where you had whole numbers. That's not always going to be the case. Like this one, you don't have a whole number. We have the square root of a fraction. So this is okay for your answer. If you wanted to get really in depth, you could take 3 divided by 8. And, 3 divided by 8. You could take 3/8, get the decimal, and then take your square root, which is just 0.35. So you could say, oh, it's 0.35 seconds, but I don't need that decimal right now. Leave it as a fraction and a square root. 0.35 seconds. Let's try this one. Zookeeper is buying fencing to enclose a pen at the zoo. The pen is an isosceles right triangle. Gross. There is already a fence along the hypotenuse which borders a path. The area of the pen will be 4 or 5 lines. Cross it out. Doop, doop. Next page. Instead of doing that word problem, we're going to chat about these and then jot down your thoughts. X squared equals negative 25 has how many real solutions? We did this briefly as we looked at the homework. Can I take the square root of that? No, because there's a negative. How many solutions does this one have? Tanner? No solutions or 0. You cannot take the square root of a negative number. The moment that happens in a problem, stop and put no solution. Before you move on to bronze word problems, I want you to just pause and get these steps down. So go ahead and solve this and give me a just quick 3-step in your own words how you would solve taking the square roots. If you need some more room, you can solve it over here. I might start out by saying step number 1 is to isolate the k squared, just like an equation. Go ahead and isolate it and see if it works. Go ahead and try that with your partner. Check your answers, compare your steps. They might have something that is worded nicely. It's easy for you to remember. Six times. Yay! Thought I was doing something wrong. It's 90. 96. Yay! Okay. I thought it looked funky. Thanks. Felix or Colby, can you mark a blender, please? 96. Does that come out to 16?
Yeah.
Great. Cool. I'm gonna leave it up there for you. Go to bronze. I want you to circle number 2 and put silver. It's not in the silver section, but it should be. So when you hit silver, you can skip it and go to 3. Number 1 is similar to our notes. Number 3 is similar to our notes. Number 4 is similar to notes. When you hit the silver section, they're slightly tricky. After you complete 1 or 2 of these in the bronze, if you feel like tackling a silver, you can jump there, but you should have 1 or 2 down bronze correctly. If you need to chat with a partner, you should be whisper talking about math. If you are not working, you are off task. Go. You got 10 minutes. Get it. Let's see. Do you guys need calculators for this one? Rectangular poster, 320. Row 3, get calculators. Wait, if you're not in row 3. Row 4, get calculators if you need one. Row 2, get a calculator if you need one. And row 1, get a calculator if you need one.
So it's like shift.
Kingston, get there. It's from like the 9th, I think. The 9th of November.
Oh. Well, that didn't help me.
The L is just L. Yeah. Because that looks like a 1. That's not mathematically like the most appropriate way. The L in variables is going to be a cursive L. Yeah.
Where's the square root?
Take shift and then take square root.
Oh. Thank you.
If you weren't here yesterday or just forgot, we did this briefly, but on these calculators, if you borrow one from the side, the square root button is kind of sneaky defined. You're going to enter your number that you want to take the square root of, hit shift, and then it's that little yellow symbol there. So you'll press the x squared, and that's your square root. The square root of 16, enter 16, hit shift, then hit square root. 256, shift, square root. Sarah, turn around.